Welcome to Movie Reedviews with me, Cody Reed. So this review's for The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2, the final one. There was, the first Hunger Games and then Catching Fire, the sequel, and then Mockingjay, the last book, was split into two movies. This one, again, is directed by Francis Lawrence, who I believe directed the last two. And it stars Jennifer Lawrence, Josh Hutcherson, and Liam Hemsworth? The lesser of the Hemsworths. And it follows up directly from the events from Part 1. And because Part 1 was all set up, this one just continues that story. It's like the finishing part of that with Katniss trying to lead the rebellion against the Capitol and President Snow. She's really sick of President Snow's mind games and she just wants to end him. And so she has to rally the troops together from the different districts and continue that effort to not only go against the Capitol, but also to kill President Snow. So Katniss is followed by her same group of people, one of which is Gale, pretty much the pretty boy who plays the same role as he did in the first one, just that third part of the love triangle. And then you have Peeta, who I actually really liked his character arc because if you've seen Part 1, he goes through some messed up things, and that continues in this part, of course. And so I really like the character arc and to see the things that he was going through. President Snow is still really intimidating, and he plays a great villain to Katniss's hero. And then speaking of Katniss, she goes through a lot of emotions in this movie, and up and downs and different twists that are happening in the movie, and she has to deal with all this stuff. And so Jennifer Lawrence still plays that great, and as Katniss is going through these emotions, she also develops from her stance in Part 1 to kind of being hesitant for being this hero to embracing it and just wanting to kill Snow. Enough about the acting. From Part 1, you would think Part 1 is all set up, and then Part 2, they get to the heart of the stuff. But guess what? This one also has a lot of setup. I mean, there was barely any action. It kind of dragged out in some parts. They easily could have made this one movie, just one long movie, 2 hours and 45 minutes, instead of two movies that are 2 hours and 15 minutes, because they just dragged out way too much stuff. As I'm watching this one, I'm just where's the action? You're getting through the first half of the movie and there was barely any action, and then it started picking up a little bit more, but even then I was this is a war. Why isn't there tons of more action and suspense happening? Which there was some. There were a few sequences throughout, but it just wasn't as what I was expecting. That's right, even though the story and the action was good, I just felt disappointed from what should have been a really epic finish. And but they just kind of left some things out, or they just dragged things out too much. One of the cool things, though, was seeing Philip Seymour Hoffman in pretty much his last role. He actually passed away in February 2014, almost 2 years ago, and so it was kind of weird seeing him on screen again, but he does have a minor role. And then one last thought I had, they really missed out on something for the marketing here. They could have had President Snow sitting in his chair, maybe talking, or just having a still frame of him sitting there, and then with that white background it says, "The snow will melt this November," and then you could have the Mockingjay burning through snow, and then it appears and it does its little bird flapping thing with the flames. Come on, free marketing. I'm gonna go back in time and tell them these things. There isn't much else to say. If you're a fan of the franchise, you'll like this one, or you should go see it, or if you just want to see the events that takes place, to finish up this franchise. But maybe go back and watch the last ones if you aren't that familiar with it. At least go back and watch Part 1 of Mockingjay so you can get familiar with the events and the plot. For me, since I did leave a little disappointed, I'm giving it 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's still a good movie, it's still a decent franchise, the story was still there and it was pretty good, but I think they just missed out on a lot of things that could have had a more epic finish, more action, more suspense, and just tied it into a stronger, just a bigger punch for the finale, but it kind of disappointed me. That's my thoughts. What's yours? Leave a comment below, like this video if you like this review, and hopefully it helped. And then make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll get updates on other reviews. And then lastly, send me some emails. moviereedviews@gmail.com. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Well, Bobby Boucher here. I'm the water boy. And so I'm really thirsty when I watch the Hunger Games because they don't have any water. I'm going to give this movie 4 out of 6 water cups.